You know what it is. Your boy TheCzarr, all rights reserved in the cockpit once again, coming to you with another banger. Check this out. Now, I'm not going to tell you whose lawyer, but after the last court case, allegedly, one of the people deemed the suspect's lawyer has now turned his focus. Get this, his focus is now on the alleged investigation done thoroughly. Yes, he's looking at this thorough investigation. Now, part of what his alleged claims are is that evidence was suppressed on the backside. Now, whether it's for a witness, for a suspect, for any reason, we don't know, but he's targeting that. Yes, I'm now telling you that they are doing an in-depth look at the force members that did this investigation, and they're taking this into account when they're making their conclusions. That means that I'm looking at what was done, how it was done, and I'm saying to myself something isn't right as far as this investigation goes, the evidence presented, and the way things were done. Simply, remember, I've been said this. I said this because of the way evidence was used to pick up these young men. How did they know? Why weren't certain things apparent when dealing with violent crimes of this nature? And why are we consistently getting a mixed message in the way it was done? See, here's what the problem is. It's that you didn't hold everybody who claimed they witnessed something, and you didn't go in depth into the people who were on social media blasting this story around like it was the newest food introduced to humanity. Something for everyone to lap up and just enjoy and twerk and twist their own way. Now, that's the problem. You guys didn't take that into account as law enforcement. So he's saying, how come they skip so many processes and we don't have the evidence that's placed here? And if my guy's guilty, how are you going to prove this with the current evidence you're providing? You're not giving anything for us to understand that my guy was even a part of this crime. You see how cut and dry he's making it? This is a very dangerous game now, because the way it's working is the fact that I'm using this person's credibility versus the credibility of the people who's making these claims and saying that this is the evidence. But what is their proof for me to believe or to competently conclude this as evidence? See, it's all playing against what is put before people. Instead of bestowing truth upon the situation, we're now in the midst of trying to understand the situation as it stands. That's a problem. That's a major problem. Matter of fact, that being the case has now put a lot of things in jeopardy in terms of me looking to respect the powers that be, and the term that I'm going to say, look, these guys are legit, everything happened a certain way. It's clouding that type of mentality. So the lawyer has stepped through the mist and said, well, if we're going to say that, let me see this. This is not good for anyone who's not in a suspect-related case, because if this was found to be, didn't I tell you, depending on how the information was introduced, somebody could walk? I said that. And now it seems a lawyer's taking a plausible angle to say, you're saying this happened, you're saying that happened. What type of information do I have to sit back and even co-sign what you're saying happened the way you're saying it happened without it jeopardizing anything else in the case? He's taken a very thorough and naturalistic view when a lawyer's working to get someone off or get someone less in time or get something exposed, dealing with a scenario of, how do you have proof? How do you know? Who told you that? How do you know this to be for a fact? This type of behavior thoroughly disregards all the steps and steps around what's being presented and says, wait, we're talking about this. You still ain't answered this question. So it seems he does have a very good lawyer that's looking for a true way to prove his innocence, and that he's looking to take the narrative well, what proof do you have that my guy did this? And why is this evidence missing that is synonymous with every single murder crime that we've seen? This is going to open up a can of worms in which answers are going to be demanded. So this is the new era of the court system being objectified to the natural understanding of common things, like how I asked about gunpowder, how I asked about other things. He's now asking, where's all this other evidence to say my guy without a shadow of a doubt did this, versus what you're presenting before me. This is the best lane to take, especially if you want to get someone to walk, because now you're challenging the evidence that's being posed towards the suspect as him being a threat versus what has been delivered, what witnesses are saying, and how come certain witnesses weren't kept around. And again, remember, we know they're requesting witness statements. So whose lawyer could have taken another turn? Here's where it gets tricky. If this is a lawyer of someone who did not ask for the experts or the statements, this is going to get bad, because now you're getting hit from three angles. You know how I hit you with different angles? They're hitting from three different angles, which gives each lawyer potentially the time to perfect their craft and searching for a specific thing. Whether they're working together or not, they're hitting it from different angles. Now, here's something else. Let me add this angle. If they're going to hit it from different angles like this and put their max time and effort into this, they are going to have their full talent at disposal to expose something that may have been off. These are the type of investigations that get tricky, because you really now have to prove it. And remember, if the request for DNA did not have to be honored because it was not taken at the time mandated by state law dealing with a homicide case, then we're looking at suspicion off the rip in character. So next, they could work to the character of law enforcement and their background being that they saw evidence was not collected the right way. So was this person misguided? Did this person lack an understanding? What was the true nature of why information was presented a certain way? Why? And what is the format that they're going to utilize going forward? This is a curious situation. And again, I told you, we have not seen many cases like this ever, if at all. This is a very wary situation for prosecution, because they have to take this into account. Going forward, they need all the ducks in a row when condemning or convicting someone on such charges. This is defeating the purpose of why they stood the ground they stood and requested the things they requested. And if it's felt it was requested without justification, things are going to get even more tricky. So that's why it's very careful to have a bill of information that stands weight in court when you're going to convict someone. And the fact grants were given, this is even harder to determine, because we don't know what was delivered in order to get these grants for experts, in order to make the request for statements. And then you have on the backside now that there is claims of evidence being suppressed in some way, shape, or form. This is all around a bad situation to be in a prosecution, because now you have suspects challenging you like, okay, you said I did this, you said I'm doing that, where's the proof? So it's no longer asking things from a point of not knowing, but more so requesting things from a point of understanding deeper implications of information we do not have at our disposal at this moment. So what do you think it is that they're using to gather this information and to show that they deserve to have it? Or what led to this lawyer making the claims he did? Do you believe that there's deeper information that is not being revealed with the way things were handled? Do you believe that there could have been foul play on the lawful side of gathering this information in order to implicate certain people? These are the type of things we need to look at, because we have to look at who is influenced and affected the most when going forward in investigations of this nature. Is it law or is it the suspects? Who's going to be deemed issue? Who is going to be deemed as someone actually trying to bring things to justice when it seems that a suspect requesting these experts and a suspect requesting a statement are actually trying to find some justice in an injustice? If not proving their innocence, proving other involvement. We will only know as time tells, but this is a very tricky and intricate situation as far as we know things to be. Who do you think had their lawyer make these claims, or whose lawyer has wised up? You know how I rock. All rights reserved.